A new WWE signing has been revealed. In addition to that, WWE has made a relatively big announcement that tells you what the future is in store for the company. And also, we got to talk about a canceled storyline between WWE and TNA that was set to take place on the main roster. Absolutely mind-blowing just to think that WWE and TNA didn't do this, and it's not WWE's fault. How crazy is that? It's all coming up right here on the Ango Show. Ladies and gentlemen, it is WrestleMania week. It is a huge week for all of us pro wrestling fans. I'm excited about it. I'm going to keep you updated along the way, so make sure you click subscribe. Huge goal of 100,000 subscribers. If you guys could help me, I'd greatly appreciate it. Joe Hendry was set to have a major feud in WWE on the main roster, at least according to Fightful Select. They have come out and reported that an earlier idea that was proposed was Joe Hendry appearing on WWE Raw, potentially leading to a feud with The Miz. However, this plan was actually opposed to by Ariel Schneerer, who had basically disagreed with the entire creative direction, which pretty much involved Joe Hendry taking a loss. It was stated that one of the ideas that it would be a catalyst for a feud with The Miz. None of this obviously ended up happening. WWE did send Ethan Page over for what they're told is a very similar piece of creative to what would have been planned. According to the report, this disagreement contributed to WWE's growing sour with Schneerer. Basically, there was a situation where WWE talent had requested that this person was not even involved in the locker room, not due to personal reasons, but because they believe access should be limited to active talent. So I don't know. This could be like a rocky relationship between WWE and TNA. Ariel is no longer with TNA from my understanding. So this is one of those really big things where, like, I don't know, man. Joe Hendry, even if he took a loss, there's a way to book the match where Joe Hendry could have lost to The Miz. The Miz is a heel. He could have cheated. I don't know, man. TNA is a smaller company. I love TNA, and I love what they're doing, but I want them to grow. I understand that you want to protect your world champion, but there is a way to go about it in booking decisions that work logically. And I don't know why they would have not done that, to be honest. And now WWE is sending Ethan Page to TNA. There's a very good chance he loses. And if he loses, it's not that big of a deal. It's not the end of the world. Pro wrestling fans need to remember, and I think people in the business need to remember, wins and losses do not really matter in a sport that is predetermined. What matters is how you tell the story of people winning and losing. Joe Hendry could have had a whole storyline of where he lost to The Miz, and then The Miz could have gone to TNA and he could have beat The Miz, and they could have had a rubber match. You know, like, there's things you can do to make it work. It's not that big of a deal. I thought that was really strange, kind of a stupid issue that shouldn't be an issue at all. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about it. WWE has made a new announcement today. Basically, they've announced a whole bunch of lineups of live events, Raws, SmackDowns, across the United States and Canada for the summer of 2025. I am seriously interested in this for a variety of reasons, but the first one is WWE Raw is coming back to Detroit, which means they will be at the Little Caesars Arena. Now, for some of you guys, this might not be a big deal, but it's a very big deal for me being from Detroit. Now, with that being said, I actually really want to be really clear. WWE's announcement is basically telling you that they have no plans to slow down in terms of these larger venues. And that's essentially what is happening here. WWE is doing the larger venues. Now, I bring up Detroit because I am from the area, so I can discuss this. But AEW recently made the announcement that they're coming to Detroit, but they're doing it at the Masonic Temple, which is a smaller venue. And being that they're doing a smaller venue, essentially what that means is that AEW's trajectory has gone downhill. We know they're doing the smaller venues because they're not selling tickets, and they're even having a little bit of a tough time even selling on the smaller venues. But AEW did Little Caesars Arena the first time that they came to Detroit. So the thing is, they sold 7,000 tickets in Little Caesars Arena. Now they're doing an event that's 4,000 tickets. WWE, on the other hand, is just constantly going up. Now, I know everybody's going to read into this and say, AEW, Ango, you're a hater. No, what I'm saying is WWE is actually not selling out of WrestleMania this year, and WWE continues to still do the larger venues for Raw and SmackDown. So I think this clearly shows one big problem that WWE has had, is that they have been trying to sell very, very expensive tickets to WrestleMania, and it's hurting them. But WWE can go back to pricing how they normally price Raw and SmackDown, and it's very evident these days based on their ticket sales, they're having no problem doing that. So now what this means is next year, WrestleMania, will WWE continue to try to sell the ticket prices just like they were this year? Because it will have the highest gate. This WrestleMania did not sell out so far. Still could, by the way, but it hasn't. But it could be the largest gate that they have ever had. And that right there is the thing that is really mind-boggling to me. Because next year, if WWE sells the ticket prices for WrestleMania the same way they did this year and they don't sell out, they're going to keep doing it because they're still making money from doing these larger venues in the arenas. And all of these shows that were announced through Raw, SmackDown, throughout the United States and Canada, it's a very big deal. And yes, me finally getting another Raw in Detroit is a big deal. Where's that pay-per-view, though? Where's that pay-per-view? WWE, you're slacking. You're slacking big time. And that brings us to our final topic. Ladies and gentlemen, it is official. Jeff Cobb is on his way to WWE. This is a massive update. I have been covering this in a series of videos, and now it's time to actually give you guys the update that matters. Sean Ross Sapp, a Fightful Select, reported about a month ago or several weeks ago that Jeff Cobb was internally listed on the WWE roster. And at the time of that report, Sean Ross Sapp made it clear that's just what a source had told him. There was no confirmation on it. Then what was really crazy was Jeff Cobb was in a situation where he ended up winning the titles, tag titles, in New Japan Pro Wrestling. And what did New Japan Pro Wrestling do? They had him win the tag titles, and today they have announced that those tag titles are being vacated because his release request has been granted, which means if his release request has been granted, and his last match, by the way, they confirmed that the last match is April 19th, which is this Saturday. The fact that they confirmed that now tells me 100% that Jeff Cobb is 100% going to WWE. And because his release request was granted, because he'll be free from contract, there's good possible chance that Jeff Cobb could be a surprise debut on the Raw after WrestleMania, on the SmackDown after WrestleMania, maybe even NXT after WrestleMania. Who knows where they're going to put him? Or if they really want, they can have Jeff Cobb just debut at WrestleMania. Who knows at this point? But it is absolutely insane to think about that Jeff Cobb is leaving New Japan for WWE because New Japan put the titles on him. They put the titles on him. Him and Callum were holding the tag team titles. It just didn't make sense. And New Japan did this. Even, Carl Anderson, we saw that before he went to WWE. He had the New Japan Never Openweight Championship or whatever it was. So, this is a weird thing that New Japan does. And I don't know if it's just them trying to take advantage of the headlines because they know somebody's leaving and then people are talking about him leaving. I don't know. Very strange situation. But ladies and gentlemen, that is the Ango Show. What do you think of Jeff Cobb coming to WWE? And please don't forget, click that subscribe button. We're trying to hit 100,000 subscribers. You don't want to miss out. New videos every single day. Plus, the Ango Show live Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern.